everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Michelle, everybody's favorite Noona, and today we are starting a brand new series that I am so incredibly excited about, and that is K-pop astrology. Woo! So we have with us today one of my very best friends, Kelsey, who has some fun tricks up her sleeve. So I'm going to go ahead and let her introduce herself, and then I'm going to talk a little bit more about the series that we are kicking off today. So Kelsey, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Amazing. I don't know if you can hear it. The tiny goblin that I call my dog has decided that even after an hour of us talking or whatever, he is going to throw a little hissy fit. So if you hear a sound in the back, he's fine. He's sniffing the door. Hi, I'm Kelsey. I'm one of Michelle's closest friends. I am currently in my childhood bedroom. So that's why I look like I'm in a log cabin, because I am. So I grew up in Wisconsin. So I'm just home visiting my family, and it just worked out that this was the time we could do this.
I love the aesthetic. I think it's so cute, especially with all the lights. It's very fun, very astrology-esque. I'm excited.
I redid it during the pandemic, and it turned out a little nicer than I anticipated. So,
very nice. Well, thank you again, especially doing this while you're at home on vacation. Like I said, we're kicking off a brand new series today that I'm so excited about. I am the kind of person who loves to know lots and lots of details about people. I love like MBTI tests. I love astrology, of course. I love doing all the different kind of work and personality tests, Enneagrams. So when Kelsey and I became friends and I learned that she had this very unique skill, I was very intrigued. And then when I started my YouTube channel, I was like, if I want to know, I'm sure other people out there want to know. So this series, I want to first start off with a disclaimer at the beginning of this video, just so you all know, neither of us are professional astrologers. This is literally just for fun amongst friends and for all of you watching out there. We're not making any claims about the actual real life individual members that we're going to be reviewing their charts for today. We are just looking at some of the common traits related to their signs and seeing, hey, is this at all relatable to the real person? But again, we're not making claims about anyone or about who they are. We're kind of just looking at their signs today. So that is what we're doing. We're going to run through a couple of the key astrology signs that people would find in their charts. And we're obviously relating it to some members of some groups. Today, we are going to be kicking things off with Treasure. This is going to be a two-parter. So before we give Kelsey an intro to the members, I'm super curious, Kelsey, how did you even get into astrology? Because I was just sitting on Kelsey's couch one day and we were talking about astrology and she was like, here, give me your birthday and birth time and I'll read your entire chart for you. And she did. And I have to say it was scary accurate. But how did this even come about?
Yeah, it was genuinely just like a party trick. Like I wanted something that would sort of break the ice with people I don't know. I'm a massive introvert, speaking of MBTIs. So for me, I love getting to know people through their astrology charts. I think it makes people work better together. You can kind of understand what type of friend you are. I'm definitely just like a hobbyist. This is just something that I do in my spare time and I enjoy it, but I'm definitely not the type who's like, I'm going to tell you what your sun square Mercury means. I just enjoy kind of doing the bare bones because I think it really gets to the bottom of sort of who people are and how they function and how you can kind of work together. So I think that's always really important in a group too, is how are these signs actually going to work together? Are they going to clash? Are they going to mesh? It's a whole thing. So yeah, for me, it was genuinely just an icebreaker. And here I am 10 years later and people are still asking me to do it. But I love it. It's genuinely the best way, in my opinion, to get to know people really quickly.
Absolutely. It's so fascinating, and not only get to know other people, but when you were doing my chart reading, I kind of learned some more things about myself. I was like, oh yeah, that is
Totally.
a tendency I have, or oh yeah, that is kind of something that I think about as I navigate my way through the world. So again, hers was spot on for me. Again, we're not making any claims about any of the real life idols that we're going to be talking about today, but if you are ever curious about their star signs and chart readings, just like I am, this is the place for you.
Totally.
So we are going to be doing Treasure today. Like I said, one of my absolute favorite groups of all time. Kelsey, what do you know about Treasure?
My experience with Treasure is purely through Michelle. So I had like, they were definitely one of those groups. I had a bunch of songs on my playlist. I had no idea who the members were. Like, I think I could maybe pick them out of a lineup if you put them in like a random group test. But other than that, I knew nothing. And Michelle was crashing at my house and was like, hey, we need to watch Shining Solo. And we did nothing else for like 7 hours. And then I finished the series with my niece like a couple months ago, and it's truly one of the best introductions I've ever had to a group that I like didn't know beforehand, because I have so many thoughts and feelings. You know, a lot of them about this show and the boys, but I genuinely love their music. Like, I wasn't able to go to their show in Los Angeles, and it broke my heart. So I'm definitely going next time around. It's going to be blast. I'm super excited.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure I'll get heat online for this, but my introduction to Treasure for a lot of people is Shining Solo, because that was my introduction and it just hooked me so hard. I'm like,
Yep.
you guys got to see this. So I'm happy Kelsey was receptive. Obviously, he really liked it, which is great. But yeah, Kelsey is a newer May. I don't even know if we can call you May yet. But all that to say is she doesn't necessarily know the guys through their content, right, as much. But I think that makes it really interesting, because she'll be doing this reading fairly unbiased in that way. So for a quick introduction to Treasure, if you don't know them that well, they are a 10-member group. They debuted from a competition show called Treasure Box that YG put out, and that aired from 2018 to early 2019, and the boys debuted in 2020 as Treasure as a 12-member group, and now they're a 10-member group. So because we both got our introduction to the guys through Shining Solo, we are breaking this up into 2 episodes, and it is going to be basically the first half of Shining Solo and the second half of Shining Solo. So this episode, we will be going through the charts for Jihoon, Junkyu, Haruto, Asahi, and Jaehyuk. So those are the 5 we're going to do, and then we're going to do the other 5 members afterwards. After Kelsey does the readings, we're also going to do a little fun game with superlatives based on their chart, who Kelsey would think would be most likely to. So as we go through and as Kelsey reads a couple of the houses in their charts, let us know what you think below. If you are like, that is absolutely not at all like Haruto, Jihoon, whoever, let us know. Like I said, this is just based on their houses, not the people. If you are like, oh my gosh, that is spot on, let us know too. And also share clips, because I love watching clips that you guys send me online.
Please.
Just, TikTok, YouTube, whatever, and we'll definitely watch them after. But again, this is just for fun. We're going to kick things off and get into it. And I'm going to let Kelsey take it away. She's going to go off of their birthdays. And if it was available online, she'll also know their birth times, but that's not always available to people. And we're not trying to stalk anyone, right? If it's not out there, we're not going to push it.
You know, I'm not going to look up any birth, certificates when I do this, but we're going to do the best we can regardless. And I do think it helps that I'm going in mostly blind. So, pretty much everything that I say about astrology is not only stuff that I've read, but it's also, my experience with people and who have these placements and who have these planets. The best sort of intro of what signs we'll be covering is each planet in your birth chart sort of correlates to something in your real life. So your sun is sort of how you present to the world. That's what most people would say is your zodiac sign. So you're a Gemini.
I'm a Gemini. Yes, June 13th.
And I'm an Aquarius. So I'm January 31st. There were 2 little air sign girlies. And the moon is sort of your emotions, and so the side that only the people who are closest to you, your friends, your close family, that's really the side that only they get to see. Your Mercury is how you communicate, so whether that be in talking and text, how you give action, that's what your Mercury is. And your Venus is how you love, both platonically and romantically, which I thought would be interesting for everybody. So starting with Jihoon, he's born March 14th, 2000. His sun is in Pisces, his moon is in Cancer, his Mercury's in Pisces, and his Venus is in Pisces.
Wait.
Yeah. So right off the bat, the first thing I notice is this is going to be an emotional boy. So for his sun, so Pisces men sort of, they give off this really dreamy quality. Pisces, their sign is the fish. They're a water sign, so they're very watery, they're very ethereal. So I think that kind of can come off a lot in the way that he like performs. So how he comes off is really kind of soft and nice and just really approachable. Again, I'm going off blind, but from what I've seen, I think a lot of it is like Pisces are very open people. They want to make a lot of friends. Whether they keep a lot of friends, that's a whole different story. But I think he can also sort of lead with that authenticity. So he's coming in with sort of like no holds barred. Like there's no wall up. Pisces are very authentic people once you get to know them. My thing with Pisces, as you'll see with a lot of the water signs, is I don't always understand a lot of them. But what I can say is they're the type of people that like they really take things to heart, both good and bad. So you're going to have people who, the best way I describe Pisces is like if they go to the gym and forget their headphones, their entire day is ruined. Like they can't move on past that. And that's the Pisces that I've known in my life. So Sun Pisces, that's sort of my overall look at things. When we get to the moon is in Cancer, which is a really, really good placement because the moon is all about emotions. Cancer is all about emotions. Cancer feels really at home here. And so I think that that's another thing when it comes down to like authenticity and speaking his feelings. He's never going to lead with, you know, brashness or harshness or trying to hurt people. He's always going to come from a place of being hurt if he's trying to communicate his emotions. So his emotions are very important to him. That's how he communicates with other people as well, because it's also a Pisces Mercury. So a lot of it is kind of leading with that emotional state and really taking into account other people's feelings as well. So when you want to like have a group conversation, he's not just going to say, you weren't doing this, you weren't doing this, you weren't doing this. He's going to say, okay, well, how do you feel about what we're doing? Like, why aren't we getting this sort of deal is really the vibe that I get from his chart. His Venus in Pisces.
So real quick, I think that's so interesting so far. Because again, in the limited knowledge of what I know about Jihoon, being a big Treasure fan, but also not knowing him in real life, like he is so incredibly authentic, especially when he's on stage, and he is so friendly. Like, so if anyone here is new to my channel, or if you haven't watched some of my vlogs, I went to the Special Moments concert both in New York and in DC, and I had hi bye for both of those. So I got, you know, that very, very, very quick interaction with the members during the hi bye. And Jihoon is one of the most warm and welcoming people I've ever seen in my whole life. He looked genuinely so happy to see all of the fans. Like, just so sweet and very excited, but also it just seems so authentic. Like, you know, when people are kind of just like there for the paycheck, like
putting on the face, like
we've done some highlights that were very very funny, but it was kind of like, all right, they're a little over it. Jihoon was like, his eyes just lit up, he had the biggest smile on his face, he was just so authentically warm and welcoming, and that was so awesome. Secondly, interesting with his moon, because so Kelsey became a treasure maker after, like, in 2025, so she knows Asahi and Junkyu as the leaders, but Jihoon was one of the original leaders along with Hyunsuk for Treasure. So I think a lot of that in the moon like really tracks, and like with the way that we've seen him lead, again, just in like Treasure content, so whatever they've put out there for us to see. But yeah, he's an excellent leader, and a lot of what you said I can think back to, like, oh, those are great like leader qualities.
No, totally. I think he's, to me, as like obviously not seeing him as a leader now, but kind of looking back, I could see him being the type of leader that really wants to take everybody's opinions into account. And so I think that would have made him really successful in that sense. I think maybe he could be sort of like a sounding board for a lot of the boys, like definitely somebody who's really good at heart to hearts and like opening up and like getting other people to open up, because as you will see, there is a lot of earth sign energy in this group. A lot of fire, a lot of earth, not as much water and air. And for those of you who don't know, just like a really quick overview of each sign has an element. So the water signs are Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. They're usually a lot more emotional based. They make decisions based on emotion. They're very dreamy. They're very ethereal. Then you get your earth signs, which is Virgo, Capricorn, and Taurus. These are all grounded workhorses. They are really about house and home and sort of making things their own. Then you have the air signs, which is us. That's Gemini, Aquarius, and Libra. We can be a little bit up in the clouds sometimes. We've got big dreams, don't always know how to achieve them. Sometimes we do. In a lot of our cases, like I think air signs are the most different as a group of three. Libra is very romantic. Gemini is like life of the party. Aquarians are just like the weird little aliens in a corner, which I relate to wholeheartedly. And then you've got the fire signs who are just like, they are what you see is what you get. Like they are going to let you know how they feel. They are going to be a little bit more in your face. That's Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. So just a quick little aside, because I'm sure I will mention it subconsciously anyways. Back to Jihoon, his Venus is also in Pisces, which is another really good placement for it. I love Venus in Pisces. They're definitely like a little hopeless romantic, but also a little bit like they want to feel pursued. Pisces are a little bit more of a passive sign. They really want to have somebody say like to their face, like, oh, I love you. Like they're not putting their emotions out for nothing.
If anyone has ever seen Jihoon in a fan sign, I feel like that probably tracks. I watch his like fan sign TikTok things. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I mean, that's what I've seen.
They just need a little validation.
We all do at the end of the day. Who doesn't?
Right.
Cute.
But kind of like I said with like the boys, like it means the same, platonically as it does romantically, like heart to heart, like talking about the deep subjects, like really going in on your emotions, how you feel about stuff. They're not planners. So they're not great with like thinking long term. Pisces are very in the moment. So I think from a romantic standpoint, not always the best of dates if I'm gonna push it just a little bit. Probably not great planning, which I think we saw a little bit of in Shining Solo. But like once he's on it and once he's comfortable, like it's just so easy. It's like a person you've known forever. So I think that's really fun. I also think, and this is my take on a lot of water signs, is they love to hate things together. Like they love to just kind of gossip and be catty a little bit. That's like the sort of secret side to them being really emotional, is they're like, oh, you hate that person? I hate that person too. Let's be best friends.
Love it.
Yeah, so I think that's really fun. And I think that wraps us up for Jihoon.
Cool.
Moving on to Junkyu, he's born September 9th, 2000. His sun is in Virgo, his moon is in Capricorn, his Mercury's in Libra, and his Venus is in Libra. This was the most surprising chart to me.
Really?
And I think that's because his moon and his Mercury and Venus are kind of fighting each other a little bit. So his sun in Virgo makes a lot of sense. Virgos are very straightforward. They're super hard workers. They're always known for being like meticulously organized, almost to like kind of a disgusting degree. I love Virgos, even though I'm not always supposed to. They are some of my favorite people on earth because they're also some of the most unintentionally funny people. But they are also one of the few signs that I think really could work with any sign. There are a lot of incompatibilities and compatibilities in astrology. I don't always say like, if you're a Pisces and you're dating a Sagittarius, it's going to end in flames kind of deal. I think anybody can work out if they want to work out. But when it comes to Virgo specifically, I think they have the ability to sort of adapt more so than the other earth signs. However, they are so stubborn. They are so stubborn. If they have something in their head, which it doesn't happen for them as much as it does for the other earth signs, like they can't get it out. They can't, mix ideals. It's in there for good. So that's sort of how he presents to everybody else. But I think he is able to mold his personality to the people he's with because he's a Virgo sun, and also because of the Mercury and Venus, but we'll get on to that. His moon being in Capricorn is what's really surprising me, because Capricorn themselves are very much known for being the least emotional sign. So
interesting.
Alongside Aquarians. So it's kind of fighting that placement a little bit. So my guess is if he has emotions, he's kind of scared of them. And he doesn't really bring them to the surface all that often and confront how he feels about things. He'd so much rather like, let's just go, let's move on, let's keep doing what we're doing,
Sure.
as opposed to being like, hey, that bothered me and I haven't really internalized that yet. And my guess is he's not one to really share how he feels all that much. It's more so he'll be like, okay, well, this happened and this was the result. And so as a result, perhaps we could have done something better. So it's more analytical.
Analytical,
definitely.
pragmatic for sure.
Totally. And they're also known as like the workhorse of the zodiac. Like everything about Capricorn, they want success in whatever way they define it. So I think having that in his like emotional state is tough because you never want to like have to go introspective and work on yourself when that's not something that comes naturally to you. So I think a lot of him is going to be sort of like putting up a front, whereas I said like Jihoon, like full authenticity, there's nothing hiding. I think Junkyu, he definitely can push stuff down a little bit more from his chart alone. So his Mercury being in Libra is like a great placement. We actually know a lot of people with this placement. And it's one of my favorites because Libra is all about balance. They want everybody to be heard. They want everybody to be seen. And on top of that, they're gonna still give you tough love, but not in a way that's gonna break you. So the earth signs might be like, I'm gonna go for the jugular. Libra's not that way. Libra's very much like, I want them to get my point, but I don't want to hurt them in the process. It's a very romantic sign. It like ruler is Venus, which is why his Venus placement is so good too. So I think with his Mercury, he's very choosy about his words. He's definitely somebody who thinks before he speaks, but at the same time, he still is a good listener. I think he is somebody who can definitely read a room and say like, oh, maybe this person is not feeling great. Like, let's talk about it. While he might not share his emotions, he's very good at getting them out of other people. Like, and I would say he's a very good listener.
Yeah. And once again, it's like Junkyu is now one of the leaders along with Asahi, right? So along with the things that you were talking about, like in his first house, like the really hardworking, he writes and produces a lot of their music. So we can see that there for sure. The being a good listener, being able to read the room, like those are all attributes to a good leader as well, right? Again, we don't see all of the inner workings of how he leads, but so far, based on his houses, like all great attributes to have as a leader. So that's very interesting to hear.
Totally. And I think just for future, they are planets, not houses.
Planets.
Houses are something different. But
interesting. Learn something new all the time.
The houses are like, they'll be like a house of marriage or a house of like health.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a whole other thing. I'm not as good with them. But there we go. So planets. So kind of routing him out, his Venus is in Libra. Libra is at home with Venus. That's her ruler. Libra is inherently one of the most like romantic signs, very much hopeless romantic, like K-drama lead sort of vibes is always what I think of when I think of like a Libra Venus. Is there somebody who really wants that like stereotypical like kiss in the rain sort of deal? Like they really, and even with their friends, like they want like all of their friends to have that. Again, they're very balanced. They are very worldview. They're like sort of moniker is like justice or the scales is their picture. So they want people to all be like having fun and everybody's happy. And they're, to me, a very positive sign and a very uplifting sign. And so the fact that it's sort of in its like ruled house is, I think he's very comfortable with love and if like expressing affection to the people that he really cares about. I feel like that's not difficult for him, even though his emotions might be harder. Like if he is truly, you know, in love with somebody platonically or romantically, those feelings will come out probably a lot sooner than if it were with any other sign, because they're just like, I just want to love. Like, I just want to be here. I want all of us to be happy and vibing. So it's a really great placement. So he definitely gives me like soft but hard vibes, which is very interesting and not how I would have seen him at all.
Interesting. Yeah, he is honestly such like a happy pill in the room whenever he's around for sure. But then he's also deeply introverted, which he has said before, and we all know like if the guys are out
Interesting.
exploring on tour, he'll be in the hotel room just like chilling. Very
I
interesting.
could definitely see like
Yeah.
a low social battery with these signs. Like it's a mix because Libra's a very social sign and Virgo and Capricorn are not. They're like, get me out of there.
Oh,
Don't want to be
interesting.
there.
I can see how those two can
So,
fight each other a bit. But yeah, when he's in a room with people, he's always just like so happy. It's really sweet to see. Like watching him on stage too is always just like big old smile on his face, really
yep.
engaging with the crowd. So much love for his members. Like it's very cute to see.
We are moving on to Asahi. He was born August 20th, 2001. Michelle knows that nobody stressed me out more than Asahi during Shining Solo.
You and Matt.
Um, we have this in common. Like he just to me, I was just like this the entire time. I was like, I'm so stressed for you. Please, please be successful. I need you to have success and I need you to blink. Um because I feel like he just kind of stares sometimes, which is part of his charm. And it does
Very.
make a lot of sense when I look at his chart because he's got two of the biggest battles right off the bat. So his sun is in Leo, which I think will surprise most people. I think most people, when they think Leo, they think like life of the party, like, you know, diva on the stage. They want to be the center of attention. And I think for Leos, that is true to a certain degree. I think they have just like an innate need to be the most successful and the best at what they do. So it's not so much that they need to be like generally adored and loved. It's more like if I'm going to do something, it's not going to be half-assed.
And
It's
he
going to
writes
be
and produces a
ton
lot of
ton.
their music too. So that's interesting. Yeah.
Exactly. And so I think, and Leos are also extremely emotional. I think they're the most emotional fire sign. So they really wear their emotions on their sleeve though. It's very similar vibes to like Jihoon in the authenticity. There's nothing there's nothing holding a Leo back. However, his moon being in Virgo is really surprising. Um, so I don't know if I said the full chart at the beginning. So his sun is in Leo, his moon is in Virgo, his Mercury is in Virgo, and his Venus is in Cancer. So his moon being in Virgo, it's very similar to Junkyu in the fact that like earth signs do not thrive as a moon sign necessarily because they are so rigid and hard and unemotional to a certain degree. It's not natural for them. It's not meaning it's a bad placement. It's not meaning if you have this, it's terrible. It's just meaning like emotions do not come naturally. So I think having sort of the fight between like wanting to be really authentic and having all of those emotions right up front, but then also like kind of being scared of them and wanting to put yourself in a box. And I think sort of like almost organize how you feel about things before you present them is really the vibe I get from him is like, whereas I think Leo is sometimes a sign where you're like, oh, they're just going to say whatever they think. I don't think that's the case here at all. Like his moon being in Virgo and then his Mercury also being in Virgo, like he thinks before he speaks. He probably thinks too much before he speaks because I think he's sort of over analyzing everything. Virgos can definitely get stuck in that like analysis paralysis area where they're just trying to figure out really what is the best course of action. And Virgo's another sign that really wants to be successful. So I think with his sun in Leo, moon in Virgo, and Mercury in Virgo, those are all three signs that are just going to want him to succeed, whether he knows how to or not, or whether he knows how to do that with happiness alongside that success. That's sort of a different story. I think a lot of what he's doing is like, I can see him definitely being the one to like stay up late, getting work done, probably sleeping less, but he's also not going to be afraid with, you know, Virgo in communication sector. Like he's not going to be afraid to say what he wants. He is going to think about it, but it's not going to be one of those things where he's going to tiptoe around. If he knows what he wants and he knows how to get it, he's going to say it. Like it's not going to be something that he hides necessarily. It's just going to be something that he's thought through. So like while he might not be great up front, like, I do feel like this is sort of a slow burn. You know, he might take some time for people to really get to like know and understand him. But once he is understood, it's like, oh, of course, that's how he works. Like, he works the same way every time. Like, I would see this as a very predictable person. And I mean that very positively. Like, their motivations are really clear. Again, the journey to get to what that motivation is at the end is a little muddled, but his Venus in Cancer is the one that like kind of threw me for a loop because again, Cancer's really soft. Cancer's really like sentimental and romantic. And so I think there's such a need for him to want to have that sort of like breakthrough when it comes to his emotions. And in my mind, when it comes to like romantic and like platonic relationships, once you have that breakthrough with him, once you're comfortable with him and he's comfortable with you, like no holds barred, like he's an open book, you know. And I think this is a sign that I also see being very physically affectionate. Cancers to me are very physically affectionate. And so again, whether it shows or not, definitely somebody who like just kind of needs a hug. Every once in a while, just kind of needs a little pat on the head.
The guys have said that, like, Treasure as a group, I think their love language is physical touch, so that certainly tracks. But also, if you look at the songs that Asahi has written for the group, like, he contributed to Last Night, Yellow, Orange, like, they are very romantic. Again, whether that be interpreted as, like, romance with a partner or, like, friendly platonic romance, like, but they're known to be like very soft and sweet and like romantical songs, like that is, so maybe that's the way that he finds to express that, you know. That's just a wild guess, but it is funny. He also,
I would say you're spot on,
but also I think that something people come to know about Asahi is he has so many hidden charms once you really get to know him, or like you watch the content and you see how he is around the members who he's been with for a long time and is more comfortable with, right, in those settings, versus how he maybe just presents like on stage or out in public, right? But you see the behind the scenes and like he has so many hidden charms and he's so goofy and funny, but it's not something you would guess right away about him, which is so fascinating to me.
He is the one that I most want to know what his rising sign is, because the rising sign really encapsulates like your first impression energy. So like, you know, when people first meet you, are you super extroverted or are you super introverted? I could see him being either like a water or an earth rising, but you need to know the time he was born for that. So not going to track that one down.
Yeah, and we're not going to track it down. It's not public knowledge. We're not going to track it. If anyone knows, you can put it in the comments for us.
If you know.
Yeah, if you out there know, let us know.
I'll figure it out. I'll give you my analysis in the comments. So moving on to Haruto. Haruto is April 5th, 2004. He is an Aries sun, a Libra moon, a Taurus Mercury, and a Gemini Venus, which is a really interesting combination. So for his sun, for Aries is the sign besides Virgo that to me could fit with any other sign. Like they could be compatible with anybody. It just depends on like sort of the rest of their chart. But Aries are the type of people who like, people always say they're really headstrong. And I do think that's true. I do think they can be very stubborn, but I think at the same time, like they are very similar to Gemini. Like they want everybody to get along. Like they don't want conflict. They do not enjoy conflict. They are just there to like, if they have an opinion, they will let you know. But at the same time, they're not going to start an argument just for the sake of starting arguments. That's Sagittarius. Like that's I would dare to say like even more Leo. But like Aries to me, they're not going to poke and prod. Like they don't like being annoying. They like being sort of the like glue that holds everybody together. Does that make sense? Like every Aries I know is somebody who is a lifelong friend. Like they are somebody who is so loyal that they will like walk through burning fire just to like help you out. And I also think there's somebody who like, if you have their heart and you have their trust, which is not as easy to earn as people think it if you have it, it's yours for life. Like they're really, really hard, in my opinion, to like break off relationships with. The moon is in Libra, which is actually my placement. My moon is in Libra. So I can speak to this a little bit more intensely, which is that I think emotions for him are very complicated because he has a lot, doesn't always know how to communicate them, but at the same time, like still wants to feel them. Like he's not the earth sign moons who are like, no, I'll deal with that later. Like, I don't want to touch that right now. Like Libras do want to feel things. Like they have this innate need to sort of like see all the wonders of the world. Again, they're very worldly. Both Aries and Libra are super worldly, super like 360 scope sort of people to me. So like with your moon in Libra, a lot of it is sort of not being rash, because I will say Libra can be a little bit more in your face. And I think if he gets to that point where he's like, I'm really mad, I don't know what to do about it, I don't know how to feel about it, I'm really upset, and I don't really know how to say my emotions, like that is a sign that will just say whatever he thinks, whether it, you know, doesn't mean to hurt, but like could hurt for sure. And I think that's especially true with his Mercury too. His Mercury being in Taurus, Taurus is, I think this is the first time we've talked about Taurus as an earth sign, but yeah, they're sort of like, the way that people describe Taurans is not always the way that I see them, but the like very generic version is like, they're like little homebodies. They love luxury. They love nesting. They love eating. Like they're very much about like having things that are comfortable. But I think Taurus, Mercury, both Taurus and Libra are very similar signs. I do believe they're sister signs, like when it comes to the like earth sign and air sign. Technically air and fire and earth and water are super compatible, but you still have other signs that are really similar to you. And so I think with Libra and Taurus in both the moon and Mercury, he's going to say what he thinks without thinking beforehand. Like there's definitely some impulsivity. My favorite.
So really Taurus, different than Asahi, which was like potential to overthink before getting it out into the world.
Totally. Like Haruto may come off as like kind of quiet and like he's sort of like judging the situation, but he's not, in my opinion, somebody who's like gonna take a back seat ever.
Remember like, when Haruto on that date, on the bowling date, was like, so why did you give me the recorder? Like that very much
literally
tracks.
I didn't even think about that until you just mentioned it, but that is entirely what it is. My favorite thing to say about Taurans is even when they're wrong, they're right. I have a lot of Taurus people in my life, and if you ever ask if they've been wrong about anything in their life, they're going to be like, no, I don't think so. Like, even at the time, if it didn't work out, like, I was still right in my idea. So, like, I don't know what you're thinking. Taurans, like, Taurus can have blinders on sometimes. They are definitely, like, an acquired taste when it comes to, you know, communication with them. So that being his Mercury sign is really funny to me. But that being said, like Taurans love so big, just like Libra. So it's like I can see him having a lot of like affection to give, even if he is like a little bit harsher with it and a little bit like, no, I don't want you to hug me. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. And especially with his Venus in Gemini. So Gemini to me, and I think I've told you this a million times, Gemini to me is like the social butterfly. Like they are queen bee of the zodiac to me. They always know where the parties are. They always know the gossip. Like they are the person that's kind of the most connected. But when it comes to Venus, I find it a really weird placement. And I mean that in a good way because I like things that are weird. Geminis are the twins. They're known for being very hot and cold. You know, they're not as predictable as a lot of the other signs. However, with that being in Venus, like he really wants somebody who's stable. Like he doesn't want to be challenged. Like Gemini doesn't want to be challenged. They want to like live their lives. Like they know what's best for them. Again, maybe not for the whole group. They know what's best for them and they are going to live that truth. And they are going to go after the person that sort of supports that in a way. Like isn't taking a back seat to them, but is definitely working as a congruent partner. And again, platonic or romantic, like he wants somebody who's going to compliment all of the things that he already likes about himself and that he's already very comfortable with, as opposed to somebody who's going to challenge him. Like a lot of these signs, they want that sort of like, oh, push and pull. Like, I want you to like kind of just poke me a little bit. Not Venus and Gemini, not at all. Like they value authenticity. They just want somebody to compliment, and they want somebody who is like a big dreamer. Like Geminis, all air signs, like we are head in the clouds. Like we have our own dreams. Again, they don't have to be like dreams of grandeur, dreams of fame, whatever. It's like, if you have a dream to own a house, like odds are get an air sign, they'll do it. Like, and I think that way about Gemini Venus too. And they also know what's good for them. So it's like, it's a placement that very much like when they find their person, platonically or romantically, they stick to them. Like there's no, he's a very loyal person from his chart, like to the death sort of loyal person. Like there's no way that he's like a barnacle.
But one of my absolute favorite clips of Haruto is they're playing this game where there's like the word behind them and they have to guess the word, right? And like someone's giving them clues. And it's funny because the word behind him is Asahi, and the clue is Haruto's best friend. And he says Park Jung-woo, which is obviously another member. And then they're like, no, that's wrong. And he's like, but why? Like, isn't Jung-woo my best friend? Like, what are you talking about? It's so cute. I love the clips of Jung-woo and Haruto together because they are same age, like, so same age besties. It was just so cute. But that reminds me of that a little bit because he's just like stuck on Jung-woo. Like, no, that is my best friend. I don't know what you people are talking about.
So, and that's exactly what it is like, again, that's in his head that is endgame. All right, cool. We've said it for life. Like you're the best example that I have of this is my mother's Venus is in Gemini. And like, she is one of those people who like, you know, if she loves you, like a good relationship. I love you, Mom. But like, you know, she loves you, but also like, she is one of the very few people I know who like, she has friends from grade school. Like she has friends from her entire life, from every era, and she's kept them. And I think that is a testament to like loyalty in that sign of like, she found her people. Okay, cool. They're my people forever. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, and they're so sure in their decisions of like what's good for them. I love that placement, even though it is weird. But moving on to Jaehyuk, he actually has the exact same placement. So I think this is one of our first repeats.
Interesting.
Jaehyuk was born July 23rd, 2001. His sun is in Leo, his moon is in Virgo, his Mercury is in Cancer, and his Venus is in Gemini. So like the most fascinating part of all of this for me is he is the one who is like most similar to a lot of different members. Like him and Asahi have a similar chart period because they're very close in like age and birthday. But like he's got the Gemini Venus placement like Haruto. And I think there's a lot of like, you know, Earth moons in this group. Here we've got another one. So very similar to Asahi, he's got the sun in Leo and the moon in Virgo. So again, it's like he wants to be successful. He wants to be a star. He wants in like his own definition, but he's definitely battling with his emotions. He is definitely gonna think before he talks. But I think with this one, because his Mercury's in Cancer, he might not think hard enough. So sometimes kiddo might stumble over a few words. Cancer Mercuries, I think, are very funny because they are the epitome of unfiltered. Cancers themselves, very similar to Pisces, like, you know, you forget your headphones at home, it ruins the whole day. Like, they're definitely, some people very much view them as like a pessimistic sign. I don't always view them as a pessimistic sign. I think a lot of the time they just feel things so much differently. And that's beautiful in a way. Like they are allowed to feel those feelings of both happiness and sadness, whereas like some of us just kind of go through just trucking and getting stuff done. So I think with his Mercury in Cancer, he's definitely prone to say exactly how he feels, but he might not have worked through those feelings yet because his moon is in Virgo. Like he might be a bit more impulsive with his speech. So if, you know, somebody upset him, he might be like, you did this, 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 and this, as opposed to saying like, hey, I'm upset because you like as a result of you making these moves, I felt left out. I felt, put second. So it's a little bit more of an impulsive way of communicating. And then on top of that, he's battling the Virgo moon of like, I don't want to talk about my emotions. I just want to think about that and analyze them. So I think there's a little bit of like those two together, I think leads to a little bit of immaturity, but at the same time, I think there's like, this is going to sound so strange, like a little childhood whimsy to that. Like
I can
he's
see that.
always going to be little brother vibes is what I
Yeah.
get from the sense. And especially with like the Venus and Gemini, same thing. Like he's going to be loyal to like the biggest fault. Like he's going to love so hard. And once he finds his people, he knows they're his people. That's over with. However, I do think because of his other placements, it might take a few of them longer to warm up to him. Because while he's made the decision, I think he's not an easily readable person. Like there's nothing about this chart to me that is simple. He has literally all four of the elements in his like main sign. So he's got Leo, fire, Virgo, earth, Cancer, water, Gemini, air.
Yeah.
So you've got a bunch of things battling. That's not saying they can't work together. That's just saying like there's a bit more learning that needs to happen before he's able to communicate in a way that really like sees everybody's point of view, if that makes sense.
Totally.
But at the same time, like very much similar to Jihoon, I feel like he's probably one of the best listeners. Like
he's such a good big brother. But also it's interesting because I didn't realize he was one of the older members until I really looked up like their ages and stuff like that, because he does have that like little brother vibe sometimes, because he's so loving and so playful towards his members. Like he's a big jokester as well. Like I just watched Jungwon's graduation episode, and Jaehyuk was definitely at the forefront with like, okay, we gotta prank the kid, we gotta do this and that, like so boisterous during the dinner and just like trying to get the prank to go through. It was so cute and so sweet, but he does have that fun like jokestery side. I don't want to call it like immature, but like the playful whimsy that you said. Like he's definitely a playful person, and the older members and the younger members, since Jaehyuk is like technically in the middle, like they all kind of flock to him. However, I have heard that in Treasure Box, it did take a while. I don't want to say for people, I haven't watched Treasure Box yet, but this is what I've heard from other people. It's like it took there was one competition I know that just like absolutely breaks the hearts of two maids now, where like people had to pick who they wanted to partner with, and I think no one picked Jaehyuk. I know, it's so sad, it's so awful, it's so sad. But like that's what immediately came to mind when he said that, where I was like, I don't know if it was a matter of people like warming up to him or what, but I was like, no, somebody pick him, please. But yeah, that's just kind of where my brain went for that.
I can't watch that.
I know.
I can't.
Everyone's like, watch Treasure Box, and I'm like, Treasure Box. I'm like, I don't know if I can. I have like very few tears left to cry these days. I don't. I'm like, I don't know if I can do it, guys. I don't know if I can do it.
No, totally. And that's like, and so I guess like that definitely translates. Like he probably the best way to also put it is like, we have a mutual friend who she and I have very similar like vibes to this, of like I was so ready to be her best friend. Like literally minute one, I was like, oh my God, this girl's amazing. Like I just want to be in her life in whatever way I can. And she will tell you to this day, we've been friends for 13 years. She was like, yeah, I did not know about you. I was like very hesitant. But again, like it's very similar, because it's like, oh, yeah, well, I knew. So like, why didn't you know? And I definitely get that vibe here of like, well, I chose you as my best friend, like right the minute I saw you. What do you mean? So it breaks my heart that no one was his partner. That's like literally just devastating to me. But I can see why he is a slow burn, but I can also see him being playful. Like he has a lot of playful placements. And just in general, like his chart is to me the most unique out of all of these, because he has all four elements. And that's a lot harder to work with. That's a lot harder to like really realize yourself when you're not working with like the same thing over and over again. You're like, if I'm all earth sign, I know where I am. I know what my values are. Whereas he's like, I got 4 different values in 4 different placements, and like I'm just going through life best I can. So I think for him, he is most fascinating to me, and I think he will change the most over time. I don't do a lot of like into the future stuff, but I will say like when I see signs mature and when I see signs like kind of come into their own, he feels like somebody who's going to come into his own way later, and it's going to like hit us like a brick truck. Like he is going to come out and be like, oh yeah, I know who I am. I know who I am. I'm super confident. Like everybody else needs to get on the same page.
Jaehyuk, I've said it in some of my reaction videos to newer music videos lately, but I'm like, Jaehyuk is just hitting these days. And seeing him perform on stage at the Special Moments concert, I was like, Jaehyuk, interesting. Like,
yeah, I could.
He's hitting these days.
He definitely was one that like surprised me so hard from his shining solo persona to his stage persona. Like Asahi surprised me a little bit, but he's still like a little kind of reserved. Whereas like Jaehyuk, I was like, oh, I didn't think that was the same person at all. Like that's crazy.
Like, damn.
Yeah, that's a 1-2 switch on us. So yeah. Well, that's the first 5.
Yay! Oh, thank you. That was so fun. It's fun to learn about their different placements. And again, we're very interested in hearing what you all think. If you're like, absolutely not, you're way off the mark, tell us. And also, if you're
please
like, yeah, that kind of tracks, like, please, we want to know. Again, this is based off a chart alone. Not an in-depth analysis of watching these people 24/7 for like 6 months straight. So, anyways, so like I promised, we're gonna do some superlatives because I thought it would be fun, and we'll keep these going.
I'm so excited for this. You have no idea.
I'm interested too, just based off of readings and stuff. So we've got a couple. First one is most likely to be class president.
Oh, out of this group,
and it's just these Junkyu. 5, not the full 10.
Yeah, I say Junkyu. I think he's got the like star quality, but also he would be organized and like actually get things done.
Interesting.
So that's my class president pick.
Okay, cool. Second one, most likely to be your therapist.
Jihoon. Jihoon, no question asked. Like that dude is ready to hear you yap for like 7 hours. In fact, I think he'd prefer it to speaking. Like I think he would rather you just like lay your soul out to him.
That is interesting.
And he can just give you good advice.
Because people have said that Jaehyuk and Jihoon are like the yappers of the group.
And I can see that, like definitely, because both their Mercury signs, like they'll still yap, but I could genuinely see them both like giving and taking. Like they're not just going to talk at you. Like they're going to listen, they're going to sit down, they want to know about your life kind of deal in a way that's going to feel like invasive and personal, but in a like really good way.
Again, makes sense as he was a leader before. Third is most likely to get lost on a trip.
See, like, here's the thing, is before looking at these charts, I would have said Asahi immediately. It's not Asahi, it's Haruto.
Oh,
there's no way.
Interesting.
There's no way, because I think he'll get distracted. It's not that he's like not going to follow directions or anything. I think he'll just be like, hey, I know we're supposed to go from A to B, but there is this like A.20 that looks really great, and we should just do like a pit stop and then not find the main road back. That's my take on that one.
That's funny. I love that. Interesting. Okay. Next is most likely to get catfished.
Oh. Oh God, any of them. I truly believe, because between their Mercury and their Venuses, like I think any of them. I will probably say my heart is saying like either Junkyu or Jaehyuk. Asahi would maybe, because his Venus is in Cancer, but like I don't think he's got too much communication. He's got too much analytics going on that like I think he'll make it out. I feel like Jaehyuk would be impulsive, and then Junkyu would just be like in love with the idea of this person regardless. No. Like he's just like, oh my God, like this, person who looks like, a straight up model is in my DMs. Absolutely, they're real. What do you mean they're not real?
That's
like
funny.
Just love the idea of love.
Love's love. Okay, and then the last one is who would make the best private investigator?
Oh, that's a really good one. Because they all could in a certain way, not Haruto. They all could, minus Haruto, in a certain way, I think do really well. Because Haruto would get caught. That's the thing, is he'd get like really into like planning the heist of it all and like trying to get information out, and he would get caught immediately. I think, truthfully, if I'm gonna go with it, it's gonna be Junkyu or Asahi. I think they would really get to the bottom of things quick. But they would also, they're factual based people. Okay. So like they'd want all the facts for it too. So yeah. Those are my two picks for that.
Oh, interesting. I love it. We'll come back with superlatives for the next 5 members as well. So thank you. And if you think otherwise, again, let us know down below. I have not gotten into the treasure map episodes yet that are like the mafia game-esque type things, but I think that could help us know like a couple of those things, right? Those superlatives. So I'm interested to see how it plays out in real life with the real people, of course. So that is the first episode of this series. We're going to go beyond treasure as well, but stick around for episode 2 because we will do Hyunsuk, Yoshi, Jungwoo, Do-young, and Jungwon. So we will do that. We'll do superlatives for them as well. But this was so much fun. I feel like I just love to hear about the signs anyways. And we'll see as you and I both get to know Treasure more from their content and whatnot. We'll see what like may track, right? So we want to hear from you all.
I'm so excited.
I know. We want to hear from you all. Let us know what you want to hear about. If there are other groups you want us to break down, we definitely have some of our faves in the mix that are coming up on future episodes. Let's know what you want to hear about. And again, what you thought of it. Like, I'm just so curious for those of you Tumes out there who may know the guys better than we do. How did the reading do just based off of the planets themselves? So let us know down below. Thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate it. We'll see you next time. And as always, we'll see you later.
Bye.